Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
Karen, what is this episode all about?
The Danzig show here in Chicago.
Yeah, this was the Danzig 35th anniversary of his debut album, self-titled Danzig album.
Oh, I didn't know that that's what it was titled.
Yeah.
So is Danzig 2 just Danzig 2?
It's Danzig 2, and then Danzig 3, yeah.
Interesting.
And a few other albums, but yeah, that's the 35th anniversary of the debut album. Going on tour. Very small subset of cities he's going to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
And some have been canceled, unfortunately. I don't know why, but yeah.
Like Houston was canceled or something. Yeah.
But along with Danzig, we had Behemoth, Twin Temple, and Midnight, which are also doing their own sort of side tour on other dates when they're not doing Danzig, which is the sweater you're wearing, which is like, I think the tour name is like the Satanic States of America.
Yeah, I think
something along those lines.
Think so, yeah.
Really kind of cool tour name. And we'll get into the bands themselves and all that. But as you said, this was here in Chicago at the Aragon Ballroom again. Ticket prices real quick were $59.50 with $15.75 in fees, and then $7.53 in tax. This was also a Sunday night show, the Sunday night of Riot Fest. And this was kind of promoted as an after show, or at least listed as one of the shows going on after Riot Fest. Even though it started, I think, 7?
The show started at 7, but Danzig went on at 10:30.
10:30, yeah. Which probably would have been right around Riot Fest end.
Yeah, because Riot Fest ends on Sunday night at 10 o'clock, so that makes sense.
Which, if you're out at Riot Fest, not really a lot of time to get over here to this.
You're not going to get over there by 10:30. But
no.
Fun fact, though, about Riot Fest. Today we had our all finance meeting.
Oh, yeah, at work?
At work. And so they always do this, I don't know what they call it, but basically they ask the higher ups questions, and the guy today was a big music buff, and so they were like, oh, what's the last show you saw or concert you saw? And he was like, oh, me and my brother go to Riot Fest every year.
Oh, nice.
And he's probably 40s 50s or whatever, but I was just oh, I perked up and I'm gonna listen to this call for a second.
Yeah, I know a few people who go a lot, try to go every year and whatnot. We haven't been since 2021.
2021 we went, yeah.
We skipped last year. I think we had something else going on, and this year we had a couple other things going on.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe next year we'll prioritize that one.
Maybe next year. That's a fun show for sure. But in any case, this isn't Riot Fest.
No, it's not.
This was a after show they kind of promoted for Riot Fest. I think because of Danzig.
Yeah. But everything that I saw from Riot Fest was only Danzig was the part that was the Riot Fest promotion, not even mentioning Behemoth. And that's why I was oh, it makes sense that he went on at 10:30, because what I saw didn't mention Twin Temple or Midnight or Behemoth. So
Riot Fest, the Misfits play there a lot.
Yes.
And it's Danzig's original band, or at least original band that he kind of broke through with. And they play there a lot. I think 2021 or 2022, the year we didn't go.
Yeah.
They had the original lineup of the Misfits as one of the headliners. And so that kind of makes sense. Danzig is sort of right there in that sweet spot of what Riot Fest is all about. Behemoth and Midnight, not so much, honestly.
So much,
I would
Twin Temple might have.
So I would think Twin Temple for sure. But Behemoth and Midnight, I would be shocked if they were at Riot Fest. Midnight, maybe. Midnight's more.
No, Twin Temple.
No.
Oh, you're saying maybe Midnight.
Of those two, Midnight. Yeah. But I don't think Riot Fest would ever have Behemoth on there, unfortunately.
So. Yeah. It's not that type of show.
It's a little too heavy for Riot Fest.
Yeah.
Midnight,
Riot Fest is more emo-y, alternative music.
Yeah, I'd go with that for sure. They do dabble a little bit into metal. They have lately in the past. Slayer, their last show in Chicago was at Riot Fest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They do dabble, but normally it's 2 bands a year maybe that could be considered metal.
Yeah, there's a few. This year they had a few. I think they had Turnstile this year.
Yes,
was
they did.
there?
Yeah, but they're pretty popular.
They are. But in terms of the metal, and Knocked Loose was there this year, maybe?
Oh, really?
I think so. Or maybe they were at Knocked Loose may have been at Lala, I think.
Yeah, they were at Lala.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Anyways, Again, not Riot Fest.
Right, not Riot Fest. Let's get into the show then, I guess. I mean, venue, we've talked about the venue a lot in the past. I guess one thing we didn't mention, we did go to the show with a couple of friends.
We did. Yeah, they came
into
to
the
Chicago.
city to see this. They seemed to really like the venue as well, like the aesthetics. They kept calling it fancy, which I was like, it is kind of fancy.
Yeah, run down fancy.
It's kind of dirty at the same time.
Yeah. It is fun though to see like things that we're so used to from somebody else's eyes.
For sure.
Like even just walking to like the train and stuff like that. Like our friend mentioned a sculpture that was on the sidewalk, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. Like we walk by that sculpture every day, but
yeah, and some of the like there's like art on the buildings and whatnot, and sculptures and other kind of like, I don't want to say statues, what's the word I'm looking for? Sculptures, I guess.
Like the ornate part of the buildings, yeah.
And they would stop and kind of look at those and take some photos, and it's one of those things like it's just sort of second nature to us that we don't really appreciate it as much as we used to. So that's absolutely right. It's really cool to see other people like, oh shit, look at that. That's kind of cool. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that was there. That is really cool.
Yeah. It's fun. And same with the venue. Like it's fun to see a venue that we've been to so many times from somebody else's eyes who's never been there. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, like the venue, we've been there a lot. We've talked a lot about it a lot in the past. So not a whole lot new here. Pretty standard.
No, we did notice a couple new things though, like the swords on top of the stage.
Oh, that's right.
And then there's like they're like stone portraits, but portraits along the balcony and stuff. So.
And you did a little bit of research into this venue too, in terms of what it used to be.
I Googled it.
So a little bit of research, very tiny.
Yeah, we don't do research, but it used to be a skating rink.
Which kind of makes sense for that big oval.
Yeah, because it's a big oval. Yeah, because it's a big oval.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we've talked about possibly doing like a 666 or episode on venues or something, and it'd be fun to research these venues, especially the old venues.
Yeah.
To know what they were before.
Yeah. But let's jump into the music then, I guess, since venue, we've talked about that. First opener of the night was Midnight. We saw them with Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see them again. And honestly, we walked up and they were in the middle of their set, or a couple songs in or something. Maybe the first song, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the timing worked, because normally, like if it starts at 7, they start at 7, then at 7:30, then they tear down and the next band comes on. And this was kind of like they went longer than what I thought.
Well, they did play for a while. We'll get into the set list here in a second, but they had a long opening set.
Yeah. But even like the Twin Temple didn't come on like when you would at 8:00 when you would think. So it was maybe they started late, or maybe it was just because they had a long set. So I don't know exactly what song we walked up on, but we got there maybe 15 minutes late.
Yeah, and I can't remember either. All I remember is walking up and being like, "Oh yeah, they're the guys who wear the masks."
The masks,
completely forgot about that from Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, that's right. I know who this band is now.
Yeah, like it clicked for you.
Yeah, big click.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about the set list?
Yeah. So they started with Fucking Speed and Darkness, Rebirth by Blasphemy, Devil's Excrement, Sex Witchery, Telepathic Nightmare, More Torment, Lust, Filth, and Sleaze, You Can't Stop Steal, Who Gives a Fuck, and they ended with Unholy and Rotten.
Yeah, like I said, a pretty long set for your first opener.
Yeah, 10 songs. That's long.
Yeah, like in the middle, when we got there, it was a little late, like you said. We heard a few songs, and I was like, all right, it's going to be over real soon, maybe one or two more tracks. And it kept going and going and going. And I wasn't disappointed at any means. No. I really enjoyed the music. Their stage performance was awesome.
Yeah,
jumping all over the amps and shit.
Yeah. And our friend plays guitar in a band, and we were like, I was like, oh, I want to see that at your next show or whatever. And he's like, no, I have bad knees. I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
No, it is fun. It was a fun show. I do remember them from Milwaukee Metal Fest, but I don't remember that. Does that make sense? Like,
same. That's where I'm at.
One of the, I mean, how many bands were there that we saw? Like, we saw like 30 something.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, there was way more than that there. But it's one of those things where, when you do see them again, then it's like, oh, yeah, I remember this performance or whatever. But I don't know if their songs have come up on the playlist for me. Like, when I just shuffle. Oh, yeah. Maybe they have. But we have a lot of songs on there now.
We do
so
now,
it's hard to, like, we don't always listen to everything, so.
And when I did put these new songs on there, because they didn't play that long at Milwaukee Metal Fest, so a lot of these songs went on. Also, there weren't that many repeats from Milwaukee Metal Fest, so a lot of these made it on the playlist.
Good. So we have like a good. Maybe they'll come up more now on the playlist because I bet they probably only played like 5 or 6 songs at Milwaukee Metal Fest. So yeah, they'll be good to have them pop up more often.
But agreed, I'm the same boat where it's like I remember them, but I don't remember them from Milwaukee Metal Fest. I remember not being unhappy with them. I remember enjoying the set. Like I said, there was one set you really did not like at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Other than that, everything else was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I liked everything.
Yeah.
And we saw this band, so I loved them when we were watching them.
And from a crowd perspective, I think this was the only band that had like a pit open up. I couldn't see over the crowd for the
Behemoth had one.
Did they on the way on the
in the middle? Yeah.
Oh, in the middle?
I think so.
Oh, I even kept looking over to see if one was open, and I could, but I can't always see over people. So, I mean, it wasn't by us, but yeah. So
the only one you saw though with a pit.
Yeah. So I thought it was the only one with a pit.
The music itself, it wasn't very. I was expecting kind of black metal-y, but it really wasn't. I didn't get a black metal vibe from Midnight. I
wonder what genre they are.
Got a little bit of thrash, a little bit of punk.
Yeah, I get a thrash sound as well. The punk, I would say, from their stage performance, it kind of
a little bit. At the end, they were like ripping their guitar strings off while they were playing.
I forgot about that.
The bass.
Yeah. Yeah. The first thought that went through my head is like, isn't that expensive to replace those?
So I thought the same thing. They didn't smash their guitar by any means.
Right.
And I keep waiting for it to happen, and then I'm going to turn to you and see if you get the joke and be like, that's no way to treat an expensive musical instrument.
I remember that. What's that from?
Meatloaf.
Oh, Meatloaf.
When he's coming into his dad's bed and going to smash it. Like, that's no way to treat an expensive musical instrument. Yeah. God damn it, Daddy. You know I love you. But you got a hell of a lot to learn about rock and roll.
Yeah, I remember that now.
So I wanted to play that out with you, and hopefully you'd pick up and do that last line and be like, no, it has absolutely nothing to do with rock and roll. It has everything to do with economics. Like, musicians sometimes are struggling and instruments are expensive. Smashing it, like, you now have to spend $800 to $2,000 for a new guitar. Fuck, no, don't smash your guitar. Ripping the strings off, all right, that's cheaper.
Maybe.
You're not ruining the guitar itself. It's buy new strings, string it up.
Oh, this is not. That's a singer named Midnight, and he was a progressive metal. Because when I read that, I'm like, this is not progressive metal. Let me see here. Sorry, I was trying to look this up while you were talking about Meatloaf, and punk rock, black and speed metal. Yeah.
All right, so that's where I get the thrash. Is definitely the speed metal.
Yeah, I can get all that.
Black metal a little bit, especially with the aesthetics of the look.
Yeah.
But this particular set in general was much more punky, I felt like.
Yeah.
And maybe that was just a well-designed set to go with Danzig.
Yeah.
Like realizing he's your headliner.
Yeah, but I wonder what they use for every.
Well, that could be too. That's all I'm saying is like maybe for the other sets where they're not playing with Danzig, they tweak it a little bit more towards the black metal type aspect.
Maybe.
Which is great when bands can. I like when bands change their set list in between cities and understanding like each place is different, each vibe is going to be different, and even just like simply throwing in who your headliner is can drastically change how the vibe of the entire show goes.
Yeah.
So that's the first thought I saw when I thought of when I was listening to them at this particular set was, oh, maybe it's just tweaked more towards the punk side of things because of Danzig, because of the Misfits, which probably like inspired them when they were coming up and whatnot.
Yeah, like who they're playing with. Yeah, that makes sense.
But in any case, I loved the set. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed these guys. Want to see them again. I hope we get to see them soon. So
yeah, me too.
I guess that's about it. That's all I have for Midnight. Anything for you?
No, I'm fine. We can move on to Twin Temple.
All right, yeah, let's get into Twin Temple. Start us off, I guess, with the set list for Twin Temple.
Yeah, they started with The Devil, Don't Make Me Do It, followed by Let's Have a Satanic Orgy, Burn Your Bible, Be a Slut, Do What You Want, Lucifer, My Love, Satan's Woman, and then they ended with I'm Wicked.
So this is actually our second time seeing Twin Temple.
It is, yes.
We saw them first last year when?
In like January with Volbeat and Ghost.
Right. This was part of the pre-Imperia tour with Ghost. They were the first opener. Then it was Volbeat who had a co-headlining set list, a proper co-headlining set. And then Ghost, obviously, for your final headliner. And we didn't know what to expect for Twin Temple.
No, I never even heard of them.
Same.
Before last year.
I felt like that, like it fit really well into that set. This one going and knowing who Twin Temple was, I was like, this doesn't make sense to me.
The satanic portion of the music makes sense, or like the satanic church or satanic aspect.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about this act, who they are in terms of like music style and sort of the aesthetics and the stage performance.
Sure. So the band with the singer, so they have a bassist, a guitarist, a saxophonist, and a keyboardist. Is that right? Oh, and a drummer.
Yeah, and drummer and her singing.
Yeah.
Or did you say singer? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
And then a female lead.
Yeah.
But like the band with her, I don't know what you would call it. I thought of the Blues Brothers when I saw their outfits, like with the hats and the suits. They have all black suits and a black hat.
A little bit. The backing band for sure came out more Blues Brothers-y with like the black suits. I also got a vibe of like swing band almost.
Okay.
Not quite like.
I guess I don't know how
suits like the big baggy ones.
Yeah.
Where the Blues Brothers were more the standard white shirt, black tie.
Yeah, that's why I said all black.
All black version, and then like fedoras as well.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell that.
I don't think that's a fedora, but
it isn't. No,
we're
it's
not
like more
hat
the
people.
Western.
Wide brim
hat. Yeah.
Anyways, so that's their aesthetic, and then the lead guitar would it be lead guitar?
Yeah, I would call him a lead.
Okay. And then the lead vocalist come out, and she has like a black skirt suit thing with like red on it. I don't know what, I couldn't see I think they were flowers, but I'm not sure. And then he had like a black suit with red on it as well,
with like the red roses and the vines. Like I think a very southwestern sort of a southwestern sort of Arizona type vibe, like desert mentality type vibe.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah. And then she has like, I call it the 50s like beehive. Maybe it's not the 50s. Is that not the right John or the right?
I don't know
decade?
when it comes from, but it's like that giant big ball of hair.
Ball of hair. Yeah. Like I think they're called beehives.
Are they really?
Yeah. Like they kind of like come off your head. But so she has like that aesthetic. So when we first saw them, we kind of said like, oh, it's like, I said it was like satanic storybook because like they kind of told a story as they went along.
I definitely get like a 50s like greasy kind of like Grease the musical kind of vibe from this, of like straight from the 50s, straight from the 60s possibly, especially in the aesthetic as well, like that hairstyle, all of that. But that also like trickles then into the music, and I think that's where you're going, like the storybook aspect is like the stories or the music is telling stories, but the backing music itself reminds me of like this 50s like soda jerk.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Like shop. I don't know what they call them, but yeah. So I also get like, I don't know, maybe Beach Boysy kind of tone to them. Like they are from LA, so it's, I can see that like that surfer, like that 50s surfer sort of vibe music aspect.
It's kind of like Ghost. It's like a fun way to have like satanic music.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the deep like black metal or like, you know, that sort of, it's like the fun, they even dance around on the stage and like, you know, it's just like kind of a more fun upbeat music. And I kind of take it as like music you would have maybe at church, like if it's more progressive church. No,
I don't get that vibe at all.
Okay.
I mean, all right. At church, if you replace all the satanic.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. Like
not even that. No.
No?
Like, I think this music style is dead. I think this music style is trash. Personally, I do not like this music style at all. I hate the Beach Boys with a fucking passion.
I didn't get Beach Boys out of it.
I don't know. That's just the vibe I get, and like it pisses me off so much.
See, I guess like I always think of like this type of music because like my grandparents would listen to it, like in the car,
it's like
like
grandparent
the 60s
music for sure.
And like 60s music or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, no, yeah.
And like, so we used to listen to it all the time in the car.
No, and that's fine. I think the Beatles just basically said that music's dead. It's not good. Like, stop playing this shit music. It doesn't piss me off. It frustrates me so much. The lyrical content with like the satanic aspect, I like that. The imagery, the stage performance, I love that. It's so fucking good. But the music itself, I listened to 1.5 songs. I'm like, all right, this is done. I'm over this. Let's move on. Like, you had way too much time as it is. I'm done with this. And as a second opener, like, you should have been the first, then Midnight.
I would agree there probably.
Like, that just fits better. Like, going from Midnight so punky, so hard, so fast, then into this sort of like mellow kind of
like Baroness.
That was good. I'm fine with that. That was good. But
yeah, I know what you mean. I would rather see Twin Temple as the opener, Midnight as the second, and then Behemoth. Like, if you're thinking without Dancing being there, but then obviously Dancing was the headliner.
Yeah, I mean, I kept thinking, like, where would I like to listen to this music? Which, again, I'm not a big fan of this music. It kind of frustrates me and kind of pisses me off when I hear it, because I really, really don't like it. The only thing keeping me involved during the show and engaged during the show is, again, the stage performance, which is really, really fucking good. The stage performance is really good. And the lyrical content is good as well. I'm not a lyric guy, really. I don't really focus on the lyrics, but when I'm not really into the music, sure, and they're good musicians. They're talented. The keyboard parts, then the keyboards is playing. I really like his style. I like the music. I like that. I like that by itself. The saxophone, I like that by itself. But then when you mix it all together, like, it's just,
you just don't like it.
I don't like this.
That's fine. I mean, you don't have to like it.
No, I know that. But all I'm doing is, or what I was trying to say is, I want to find the right venue or the right way to consume this music live and see it live. I think this was the wrong setting for it. The 2 times we've seen them here at Aragon Ballroom and then at Allstate in like an arena, it does not fit well.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
More loungy, if I can just kick back and have like a whiskey on the rocks or something, right? And just kick back and sit there, smoke a cigar or something, like in a smoking lounge. There's a good venue for this. I don't know what that venue is yet. But I was not a fan of this set by any means.
Yeah, the one thing I was surprised of is when we saw them last year at the beginning of the year, so in 2022, I felt like, I mean, granted, they were the first opener, but I felt like there was a lot more, because they also do like the satanic ritual thing, like the spreading of holy water and
which is blood for their performance. Yeah.
But and then like, what else do they do? She rips a Bible, or was that?
That was not
Behemoth?
them.
Okay.
But they do, so like the band comes out individually, then the lead guitar and the lead singer, come out together as sort of like a couple, like your priest and priestess of the ceremony. And he's holding a crucifix upside down, and as he comes out, and she's holding like a goblet, which ends up having like the holy water or the blood in it. And they like go back and they do stuff with those elements, and there's other elements up there. And by elements, I mean like props up there that they pull on. And then at the end, I think she like drinks from it and like spits the blood into the crowd, and he drinks from it, spits the blood, and like takes the crucifix and sticks it in there upside down type thing. But yeah, a lot of props and whatnot.
Yeah. I just felt like the first time we saw it, there was a lot more of that ritual type thing going on, like in between every song or maybe every couple songs, where this time it was just at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, I can't honestly remember.
Maybe it was only at the beginning and last time too, but I thought it was.
I mean, in between the songs, especially here, they only played 7 tracks, which is more appropriate. What I think would be for a opener. Midnight had a few more, like I think 10 or something. But there was a lot more crowd interaction between every song as well. Like, she would interact with the crowd, have like little spiels and speeches. She had a rose she gave out to somebody as well. So there definitely was a lot more crowd interaction here than there was for Midnight, and even Behemoth coming up. Like, there wasn't nearly as much crowd interaction as they had. But I think that goes into all of their overall performance. And like you're saying, you remember that from Allstate. I don't.
Okay.
But I don't remember their set all that much.
Okay.
I remember not liking it there also.
I didn't like it there either.
We didn't actually add it to last year's playlist because we had just started the concept of every show we go to, let's add the set list to a playlist and listen to that. And we really didn't like their set that much. I think we both walked away with the same impression of the music's fine, but not our music we want to really listen to.
Yeah. We had a little bit different idea back then too. Like we didn't have the podcast. We didn't.
Yeah.
You know, like we were seeing more shows, but we weren't seeing as many shows.
Yeah.
We just had a different concept of it.
Yeah, but I did add them this year.
Okay.
We, as you said, we had a different concept, but we've also been a little bit more lenient on what we add in, what we don't add in.
Yeah, I feel like our mind has just changed a little bit where we're like, it's okay, so
there's
might as well
definitely
add
a
it.
couple we've not thrown in this year, and there's probably going to be a couple more looking ahead at what's coming up that we know, like, we're not going to enjoy that, so we're not going to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But this meet the threshold of I will listen to it again, and I might enjoy it better in the non-live setting.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe that's what it is. Like I said, I need to find the right setting for it. Maybe that setting's on my couch or sitting at home while I work or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what that right setting is yet. I don't know. I've shit on this band enough. Again, amazing live performance. Look, all of that. The instrumental, like how they play their instruments is great, but that style of music, I don't like. I don't know about you. I don't know if your opinion has changed from last year to this year.
No, I was actually more disappointed this time because I was ready for like more of the show aspect of it, like I remember from 2022 of like the rituals between the songs and stuff, and then it was just like they just sang, or they performed their songs or whatever, and then it was like the ritual at the end, and then they're done. So
if they come back around, are you willing to go and
depending on who they're with?
Okay. You're assuming they're with somebody, not like a headliner?
Oh, yeah. No, there won't be a headliner. Not right now.
Yeah.
But again, maybe a different venue too. Like maybe at the Vic and we just sit upstairs.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
They seem to have a decent following in the crowd. People were super into this, which is great. Yeah. If that's your thing, by all means, go for it. Don't listen to us. Definitely
never listen to us.
Yes. Yeah, so Behemoth. Let's get into their set list. Good luck with these names, by the way.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna mispronounce these, so somebody can correct me.
We're gonna throw it up there, so you can read it and figure out how we fucked it up. Okay,
just read the screen, and that's what they played. No, I'm joking. Okay, so they started with Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer, Malaria Vulgata. I probably did not pronounce that right or have the right accent. Conquer All, The Deathless Sun, Once Upon a Pale Horse, Versus Christus, A Fire and the Void, Barzabel, and Chant for Ashton 2000.
So going into this, I knew I liked Behemoth a lot.
Oh yeah, I like Behemoth. Is this the third time we've seen them?
It is.
Okay.
2019 at Knotfest. Their co-headlining show with Arch Enemy, and then this time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, out of like Knotfest, I didn't know who they were when we first saw them, so it was new, and I wasn't really into new bands then. And then when we saw them with Arch Enemy, I think that was at the Riviera, if I remember right.
No, it was the Vic.
Oh, at the Vic. Okay, I just remember when the second time we saw them, so at the Vic, that I didn't like the sound. Like I felt like you couldn't hear them singing, and it was just like all melded together.
So an issue with the acoustics at the Vic.
The acoustics, yeah, okay. Potentially the acoustics at the Vic, or it could be how just their sound.
Just an off night that night.
An off night or something.
Because I mean, we've seen other shows at the Vic, and it hasn't been.
No, it hasn't been bad. Yeah. So I don't know what it was, but I remember like you had listened, or we had listened to Behemoth before that, like maybe just once or twice. You know, it's not something we went to that often. But I was like, I knew I liked some songs, but then when we were at the Vic, I was like, not that I don't like the music, I didn't like the sound.
Fair.
And then when they started playing at Argonne, I was like, oh my gosh, I like that. Like it sounded so clear. I mean, maybe that's it. It's like it just didn't sound clear at the Vic, where this was like you could distinctly hear like the instruments, you could hear the vocals, like
And again, that could just be an off night for the, the sound engineer or something like that.
Yeah.
Playing it.
I'm just saying I enjoyed this much better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
That whole long thing. It just sounded so much better.
No, I got what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't remember the Vic that well to say that right now. That was a little while ago.
Thinking about it, Arch Enemy, I had the same thought that night.
Yeah,
so maybe it was just an off night.
Maybe you're spurring a memory in my head, or maybe I'm just like piggybacking on your thought, but I kind of remember that with Arch Enemy now too. I don't know. We've seen other shows at the Vic, and it hasn't been bad acoustics. I mean, again, maybe just an off night, or I don't know. Maybe we're just misremembering things.
Maybe, yeah. But I enjoyed this a lot. So
when we saw them with Knotfest, I think 2019 it was. They played Barzabel, and that like clicked something in my head, like, oh, I've heard this song. Yeah. I like this song. Either that, or it was, holy shit, I like this fucking song. And it stuck with me in my head. And for the longest time, I mean, as of 6 months ago, I look for Behemoth every now and then, like, oh, I really want to listen to some Behemoth, but there's only the one song I know, and I really want to listen to that. What the fuck is the name of that song?
Oh, you forgot?
And then I go through and I go like, boom, 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 and like, next song. Because as soon as it
starts, yeah.
Like the drums kick in, it's like, that's the song. That's the one I want to hear. The intro of the song I love, and then the lyrics kick in, and just the sort of church sort of repetitive, like like that aspect of it kicks in, and it's like, I really like that song. What song is it? So I would just go to Spotify and play. It's got to be one of their top songs. Hit go, and then next until I found it. And then every time up until, like I said, 6 months ago, so I hate myself for not knowing this or remembering this song. It was, no, I don't think it's this Barzabel song. I don't think that's what it is, but I'll play it and see. Oh, yep, there it is. And then the whole like chorus is "Come to Me, Barzabel."
Yeah.
It's like, what? How the fuck could I not remember that?
Yeah.
But I do remember that from the first time we saw them, and then that to me is like, all right, I can't wait to hear that fucking song again.
I like that when you have a song from a band that you pick up on, like even if you don't know the band or whatever, and then that's like your go-to song. And I think that because then you start listening to that song, and then you start listening to other songs that the band has, or you like Spotify. If you listen to that, then Spotify's like, oh, maybe you'll like this song, or whatever. I mean, obviously it doesn't talk to you, but it just gives you a different song. So then you can check out more and more music. So
yeah, and like I said, I really like Behemoth, but I don't really listen to them that much on Spotify.
I'm gonna say I haven't either. The last 2 days I have.
Oh, really?
Well, wait, what day is it?
It's been a couple days.
Okay, yeah. Because yesterday I listened to them, and then today I listened to them. But I go through spurts like that where I'll listen to them for like 2 days in a row, and then I won't listen to them for like 2 months, 4 months, whatever. And then I listen to them again, and then I don't listen to them.
Yeah, I'll put Barzabel on. I'll listen to that and let Spotify start shuffling it from there. And like listen maybe like two, or maybe the second or third Behemoth song comes on, and then I'm like, all right, I want to listen to some thrash. I want to listen to something else, or some like another song. When it starts like randomly picking stuff, honestly, it's Almond Amarth. I typically end up landing on. Like, oh, I do want to listen to some Almond Amarth. Let's throw some of that on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's typically how it goes for me, especially with Behemoth. But again, I really like them. I don't listen to the music that much on Spotify, but I love their live set, their live performance.
Yeah.
The aesthetics are just so awesome. They come out in like these like cloaks and garbs, and he comes out at different points with different sort of, I want to say costumes, but different, different
cloaks.
Aesthetics on.
Yeah, he has like cloaks and stuff they wear.
Yeah. And hats and whatnot. This is where the Bible,
Bible
out and ripped it apart.
Yeah.
I really hope they went to a hotel and got their Gideon Bible from the hotel.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I hope that every single show is just a hotel Bible, and they don't like buy the Bibles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet they buy the Bibles, but
I don't know. It'd be they're so easy to get a free Bible. You just message a church and they'll give you a free one.
I need a box of 100 Bibles so I
Just
can rip them
get one
off.
in each city. Like before the show, find the nearest church to you. Like, hey, can I have a Bible? And like, sure, here you go, sir. Young child.
I will pray for you.
All that to say, they are a very satanic sort of vibe of a band in terms of like the music they're talking about. Like, Upon a Pale Horse, right, is pulled from scripture. Like, death rides on a pale horse. Barzabel, I'm assuming, is some sort of demon or another name for Satan.
So I was actually trying to look that up today.
Because I mean, even with Ghost, they have the year zero, sorry, where they go through all these different names, and Yelzebub is on there. And I told you, like, Yelzebub is another name for Satan, which I'm really confused on. I think it is, but it's also a name of a demon, or I'm really confused on that. I don't know that much.
Yeah, so Barzabel is a demon.
Okay.
I can't find what I was looking at earlier, but yeah. Anyways, I don't want you to take up all the time. Yeah.
So I mean, very anti-Christian, very
Didn't they get like banned from a country?
So no.
Oh.
Well, maybe, I don't know. They are Polish.
They're Polish. Yeah.
They're a Polish band. They're always in fucking court in Poland because they have blasphemy laws.
Yeah.
I don't know why the fuck these ancient shithead laws are still around. I mean, we have them here in the States too.
Yeah.
But or why they're still in Poland. I mean, I get, like, I'm from Poland. I have great pride for my heritage, where I'm from. But at some point, I was going to say some point come to the States, but we're kind of working our way backwards too.
Yeah, don't come here.
But I don't know. Like, it's fake. It's not real.
Right.
Maybe their opinions personally, like deep down, are like, we hate Christians. We hate God. Like the Christian God. We worship Satan. Like maybe that's who they are deep down in person. But the show itself, like, it's fake.
It's a show. It's
fun. I'm here to just experience something fun. Like, do they ban movies like Exorcism and like I
know what you're saying. And I mean, even like when we saw Disturbed, David brought up like, you got to know that like the people on stage are just performing.
It's a performance.
Yeah, like I think because he says like, oh, you know, everybody thinks metal music's so evil and you know like all this stuff, and he's like, it's a performance,
right?
And that's what it is. And like, I mean, you could be right. I don't know what their theology is, if any.
And even if it is like we're Satanists or
who cares?
Or atheists or whatever it is, who gives a fuck?
Satanists are better than Christians, in my opinion.
Yeah. I
mean, like if you actually look up like the Church of Satan.
No, I get what you're saying.
That sort of thing. It's like a better theology than Christians.
Potentially, yeah.
It's just not as large.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to your thing about a performance, I think even Ghost here in the States, especially in the South, have had issues with like, they're Satanists. And it's like...
Yeah. Well, so did Rammstein in Utah.
Did they?
Yeah,
Didn't think they did. I thought that was more of the documentary we watched wasn't necessarily they got kicked out. It was, well, there's two things. There was one, the show just stopped at like 8:30, not because of Rammstein. That's just how Utah is. Like, you have to go to bed. But
you have to go to bed.
But the Family Values tour, when they came back in like the mid 90s or whatever, there's the Book Dish song where Till would fuck
that's what it was.
Flocka, and then come all over the crowd with fake cum, like just shooting miles of this Melky Wicklid out of his dildo strapped to him. I want to see that song so bad. It's like that'd be. Well,
You're not gonna see it,
didn't we? Or no, that was Pussy with a balloon cannon.
Yeah. No, I don't think we're gonna see Book Dish.
But I mean, again,
anyway,
it was a performance, and they got arrested
that,
for that. And then they're like, "We're never coming back to the U.S. because we get arrested for a fucking fake show."
Yeah,
this is not real.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like it's I don't.
But I mean, it happened in Tennessee too, where like they were gonna do some metal festival, and it like basically didn't happen because they like protested it. It's just stupid. I don't know. I'm sorry. Now I feel like I'm just being one of those people that's like, stop being stupid. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I don't know. Like, stop pushing your values on people. Like, if you don't want to go to the show, don't go to the show.
I mean, all through the night it was even Twin Temple, like Hail Satan, Hail Satan, like everybody like chanting it. And was every single person in that venue a Satanist? No, 100% fucking no, they weren't. There were definitely probably Christians in there. There were other denominations of not denominations, but other people from other theological backgrounds in that venue. We're there to have fun. We're there to blow off some steam for a few hours to just escape. Like, this is our escapism.
Yeah.
We know it's not real. So, like, if you don't like it, cool. Don't fucking come to the fucking show.
Yeah.
But don't push your values on others and say, like, you can't go see it because it's not good. Like, no, fuck you. You don't know it's not good. It's not good to you, to that person.
Yeah.
Same thing we're talking about with Twin Temple. I fucking hate that shit. It's not good in my opinion.
You just don't like the music, yeah.
The music, the stage performance, all that, the imagery, the lyrical content, great, whatever. I don't like it. But I'm not telling other people, you shouldn't go to that, right?
Right.
We've diverted a lot, but Behemoth, again, so much like the goodest like what I want from a live show is what Behemoth puts on.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree right there, right with you. And I don't know if you looked at any other set lists, but it seems like that they did different ones. At least for the show that we had was not the same as the night before.
You mentioned that because Barzabel is like the fourth song.
So when they they didn't go on until what, like 9?
I can't remember. It was late for sure. Yeah.
And so I was like, I wanted to see how many songs they were going to play because I didn't look at the set list because we don't look at the set list. I just looked at the number of songs, which they played 13 songs the night before and they only played 9 here.
Oh, really?
But that could have been because dancing was
timing
going on.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
Again, exactly.
Because technically they weren't the headliner
on this show, but that could have been one of the shows where dancing wasn't there.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to see, because I was like, oh my God, they better not go on and only play for 30 minutes and then dancing goes on or something. You know, like I wanted to see them longer, or, you know, like I wanted to see their set. So I noticed that Barzabel the night before, or the show before, I don't know if it was exactly the night before, but was the 4th song. And I only noticed that because, like you were saying, like it's the song that pops out to me as well. And so when I was counting down, I noticed that name and I was like, oh, it's number 4. And then when, I don't know, it was like the 6th song or something. I'm like, oh, I think I even turned to you and I was like, you can't use this. Or hopefully
you said that when we were afterwards.
Okay.
Hopefully somebody posts this show because Barzabel was 4 the night before.
Because sometimes we do that, like where if this show's not posted on Setlist FM, we look at the night before or a couple shows before. And so I was like, hopefully that doesn't happen because you can't use this show before.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's not many bands that we know where we can go and the next day be like, this is the exact set list.
Yeah.
Which is when bands post on social media what the set list was. Metallica does this. I think Dead and Company does this. Clutch, I think, has been doing this. There's a few bands that will post the set lists. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
The bands that don't change their set list, though, night to night, it kind of makes sense not to do it.
Yeah.
But the ones who change it every night, which, again, we talked about that. I love the bands who change it up every night. Anyway, this is a whole nother conversation. Yep. I liked Behemoth so much. I can't wait to see them again.
I know. Like, there's a couple of bands that we see that I'm like, okay, ready to see the next, ready to see them again. Some bands I'm like, okay, I saw them, like, let's move on to something else. But
the crowd was into this. The band was into this. It was so much
I feel like a
fun.
lot of people there for the earlier bands and not necessarily dancing. Because even during dancing, I went to the restroom and it was a stream of people even.
Was there?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like there were a lot of people there for dancing.
I'm sure it was a mix, but I'm just saying I saw a lot of people with Behemoth shirts. I saw, like you said, with Twin Temple. A lot of people were into Twin Temple. Yep. It's awesome to see people into these earlier bands and not necessarily.
For sure. We walked in for midnight, and I was always like, as soon as we walked in, I was like, oh shit, there's a lot more people here than I thought. Like, we were just here a couple nights before for Chevelle, 3 Days Grace, and Loathe.
Yeah.
And there's like nobody there for Loathe.
Yeah.
but it filled out by the end of the night. But here you walk in, it's like, oh, you're already in the back unless you want to not fight. You could easily get to the front.
Yeah. It wasn't.
But people were spread out all the way to the back already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said it already. I can't wait to see these guys again. This is definitely one of the bands I love seeing live.
Yeah.
Again, music-wise, listening to it on Spotify. I don't do it as much. I need to do it more often. I need to force myself out of my comfort zone of here's the 5 bands I always listen to on Spotify.
Right. I do have something to bring up. So on Setlist FM, they have like a gallery, and the first picture is them in front of a United States flag that's in black and white, or United States in like a flag.
It's the United States, like the continental United States with covered over like a flag as the background.
With a black flag. So was this the image for the tour or the show that we saw? Because I don't remember seeing that.
The image, it was really hard to see because all of Danzig's
stuff was really high.
Stuff was up in the back. Is it like stuff slowly comes off the stage? You leave the big props up for the like your headliners and whatnot. I haven't got the shirt yet. It's still on their website. I think I want to get it. Their tour shirt for the Satanic States of America, but it is, I think, Jesus with a ball gag and his chest being ripped open, like basically on the cross, but like he's got a ball gag and his chest is being ripped open or something. I think that is the imagery that they have for this show.
For the show that we saw.
Yep.
Yeah. I just saw that picture and I was like, I don't remember that, but.
And maybe for like the Satanic tour,
yeah. It could be what they have for their show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Danzig.
Yeah, into Danzig. So again, on Setlist, that last tour was listed as the Satanic States of America. Danzig's part is listed as Danzig's 35th anniversary tour.
Oh, interesting.
And again, like going into the show, I was asking you and our friends, I was like, is Danzig going to headline? Do you think he's going to headline? Because this is the Satanic States of America. This is Behemoth's tour. Danzig just hopping on for a couple gigs. Is Danzig going to headline? And you were all like, yeah, Danzig's going to headline. So I don't know. It's weird. It's basically 2 tours in one.
Yeah.
For some of it. Like some of the tour is one tour, the other tour is the other. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying with choose your own adventure. Some cities get Danzig. Some cities don't.
Wouldn't that suck if you thought that you were getting Danzig and you show up and...
Yeah.
It's still great to have Behemoth as the headliner, but yeah, like if you don't get to see Danzig.
I mean, we can probably talk about this right now before Danzig, but if Danzig wasn't on the bill, would you still go to this show?
I would want to, but we bought tickets to this show because our friends were coming to Chicago, where we probably would have went to Riot Fest.
That's fair. Given
that's all I'm saying is like the weekend that it was, we probably would have been at Riot Fest over going to see Behemoth because we would have been like, well, we've already seen Behemoth.
That's fair. This night on Sunday night for Riot Fest was the Dresden Dolls, a band I've wanted to see for so long.
Yeah, we saw them in 2007.
I was in high school. I was still in high school, so it's 2025.
2006.
I want to say
5. Okay.
That's the only time we've seen them live. They broke up. They're back together doing small venues and popping around a little bit. They announced for Riot Fest. I was like, I want to see them. But we already had tickets to this show, and it's like, oh, shit, I can't go see that. So I guess that's fair. I would have probably said, let's go to Riot Fest over this show. But if it wasn't on the same day as Riot Fest, I would definitely go see this.
Oh, I would too. Yeah.
Without Dan.
Yeah. Sorry, I was doing like the date that it was and everything. I was like,
that's fair. I didn't specify that.
Probably would have went. I don't know, but then I would have been like, oh, we're missing Behemoth because I really like seeing them live. Yeah. So it would have been hard. But this whole year has been hard because there's been a lot of shows that are the same.
I guess what I was trying to get to is, does adding Danzig to the bill sway you to, yes, I'm definitely going to go see this?
Oh, no, not for me.
That's where I was trying
not
to
for
go
me.
to.
No.
I thought, to me, that was an added bonus to see Danzig on top of this.
Yeah.
I would see these 3 bands, even though I said I hate Twin Temple, I would see them again as an opener with this whole, if they came back next year, the same bill, I'd go again.
Yeah.
I would.
Especially for only $55.
Yeah, not bad.
Like, that's not bad. So.
But we talked a little bit about Danzig. No secret, it's the 35th anniversary of Danzig, so that's going to be on the set list. But there's other stuff. So why don't you tell us what's else? Well, that plus what else is on the set list?
Yeah. So they started out with the album, but they didn't play the album like track 1 through 10.
So we don't know the album that well.
No.
We'll get into when we start talking about Danzig how we feel about Danzig, but I like Danzig. I've listened to these songs before. I know the songs when they come on. It's like, oh yeah, that's what this is. I don't know the album all that well, and that will play into my conversation around playing an album in order. But our friends who went with us are big Danzig fans too, and they know the album.
Yeah.
Mother's on that, right? And they're like, yes, it's the 6th song. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, not condescending or anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it's the 6th song.
Yeah.
And at some point we kind of work our way to the back, and it's, oh, they only have one song left. It's Mother. I was counting. This is the last song they're going to play from the album. It's going to be Mother. Also, I looked. It is the 6th song, so they're not doing it in order. So we'll talk all about that, but you're right. They don't do it in order. So, yeah, what else are... Yeah,
what are the
whatever.
songs?
what are the
tracks?
songs?
Okay. So they start with Twist of Cain, Not of the World. Oh, sorry. Not of This World. Am I Demon? She Rides. End of Time. Possession. The Hunter. Soul on Fire. Evil Thing. And then they ended with Mother.
For the album.
For the album. Yes. Yeah, sorry. I thought I was just doing the album.
Oh, no. Do them all.
No, I'm gonna do them all. I was just like specifying that was the album portion.
Gotcha.
Then they went into Blood and Tears, Her Black Wings, Killer Wolf, How the Gods Kill, Dirty Black Summer, Do You Wear the Mark, Long Way Back from Hell, and there was an encore of Snakes of Christ. So they played 18 songs total.
Very good set.
Very good set.
Long set.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you alluded to this a little bit before we start talking about the set list, but we did begin to leave right before Mother.
Yeah.
Our friends were not staying in the city, so they had quite a long drive back to where they were staying.
Yeah, and they're also in the band Thrash of the Titans, a tribute to the Big Four. They were playing in Iowa City the night before.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they stayed in Iowa City and then drove to Chicago the next day, and they were driving back home
the next day.
Yeah,
like they were going to sleep for a few hours and drive home.
Right.
Yeah.
Not going to be the best drive.
No, we've done that before, and it sucks.
On lack of sleep from putting on a show the night before and then having to drive and then seeing another show, then very little sleep, and then, But
anyways, not to make excuses, but I mean, at this point, it's probably 11:30.
It was late. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was okay staying for the whole thing, but we were really leaving it up to them on when they wanted to leave.
And we're not going anywhere. We're going home and we're passing out.
I even made that joke at the concert. I was like, that's absolutely fine, because as soon as you guys leave, we're going to bed. So you tell us when you're ready. So anyways, with all that to say, we stayed for the entire album, and then we did leave. So we didn't see the other half of the set, basically.
No, we listened to a couple songs on the way down and out, and while we waited for the Uber.
Yeah, because they had the door open so you could hear the music, which is actually really cool.
You can hear it really well from the outside.
You can.
Not even if the door was closed, but I think the walls are just thin enough. Yeah.
I think that's really cool, except for if we lived there and tried, say we had the lifestyle that we have now, that we're trying to record podcasts, we're trying to, do whatever we're doing. I don't know if I would like it as much, depending on the band. And
again, maybe that leads to why the show before
got over
Chevelle,
so early.
3 Days Grace got over so early. And even Corey Taylor a few weeks before or whatnot, right? Also got over early.
Yeah.
Venues are catty corner from each other.
They are right by each other. Yep.
Very neighborhood feel. It's past Wrigleyville, which was the big thing when they put the lights in for Wrigley, was you're going to destroy the neighborhood. This is a family neighborhood. This isn't a party place. Well, now it's a party place.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that could be a rationale for why this why shows get over earlier here again, we don't know.
We don't know.
City
Yeah.
ordinance, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, so it was cool though to hear the music while we were waiting for our Uber and stuff like that. But I don't know what, maybe Killer Wolf or
Thereabout. That's what I was going to say. By the time we got our Uber, it was definitely probably Killer Wolf or
How the Gods Kill. Yeah. Yeah. So we almost heard the whole thing. But we normally don't leave early. We have a couple times from concerts. I just don't know if we were by ourselves, if we would have left early or not, or if we would have just stuck it out.
If we were by ourselves, possibly. We may have left early, but closer towards the encore. Maybe when the encore started, then we would have like, all right, let's
go get a car. Yeah.
Because again, it's so far north. It's still an hour train ride home.
It is, yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
So we would have said, fuck it, we're going to catch the train right now type thing.
Yeah.
We do that with when we go to Cubs games. We don't stay for the whole games anymore because we live so far south.
Yeah. Yeah. So far south. Yeah. We do live south of the loop, so it's a long ways.
Yeah.
Anyways, so my opinions on dancing.
Yeah, you lead.
I do not know the music that well. I don't know the Misfits music that well either. But I do know the 30-year ago picture of dancing.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like what the 80s or I guess 90s. Gosh. Yeah, probably 90s what he would have looked like. And then I do know like Mother from the radio. And then I think Am I Demon? I feel like I've heard that before.
Probably that. Yeah.
So and probably a couple other songs mixed in there that just aren't popping, like the name's just not popping off. But other than that, I'm not a dancing fan. I couldn't probably pick out, 3 or 4 songs that I actually know unless you told me that they were dancing songs. So, and that's nothing against the music. It's just not something that I've sought out to listen to.
So I do remember going up there and our friend asking us, like, are you dancing fans? And my response then and still now is, I really like dancing music, but it's not something I listen to ever. Like, dancing is like, especially Dancing 1, and I guess Dancing 2 and 3, but what I've heard of dancing in the past and what I enjoy about it is it's very bluesy, very old school rocky.
See, I didn't get that feel.
A heavy blues influence.
Okay.
And I love that. It's so fucking good. And there's even one part in the show, he's like, we're in fucking Chicago. You guys like your blues, right? Let's fucking play a blues bit that's just amped up a little bit, a little faster, a little harder. And like that, to me, that is dancing music.
Yeah.
It is bluesy. Yeah. It is, it's so fucking good. I like it when I hear it, but I don't seek it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever it comes on and whenever I think of it, it's like, fuck, this is good. Why am I not listening to this? But again, it's that comfort zone of these are the 5 songs I always listen to.
Yeah.
And I need to break myself of that so bad.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's at work. It's like I'm in a mood. I know what song will get me out of this mood. I'm not like in an exploratory phase right now because I'm pissed off and I have to get this task done.
Yeah.
So I know what song's going to help me get that task done versus I don't really know dancing that well, but I know I like the music. Let's just throw it on in the background. And maybe that's when we're like cooking dinner, just doing stuff around the house, throw it on.
Yeah.
But I really like dancing music. I do, but I don't seek it out. Misfits, on the other hand, not really a fan.
You're not a fan.
Not a fan of the Misfits. But people go ape shit for the Misfits. They love the Misfits. You see the Misfits skull all over the place.
Yeah.
Riot Fest goes ape fucking shit for the Misfits. Like, holy shit, we got the original Misfits lineup. They're going to be your headliner for Saturday night, which is weird to me. Like, I don't think they're that good, but so many people love them. And again, don't listen to my taste in music. Do your own fucking thing. Whatever you like is what you like. Mm-hmm. Go out, explore, have fun.
Well, we have a friend that really, really likes the Misfits.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't get into it. I've tried. It's too punky. I'm not a big punk fan to begin with, and maybe the Misfits is like right on that edge of punk and like rock and metal and whatnot. But I don't like the Misfits that well.
Yeah.
But dancing on the other hand, the bluesy aspect of it, completely, to me, is night and day difference. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But the one Misfits song I love, maybe because Metallica covered it, is Die, 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 My Darling. Like, love that song. And maybe it's just I like the Metallica version more than the Misfits. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't really know much about the style of the music. I didn't get much of a blues aspect, even when he said like the whole you want blues or you like blues or whatever here. So maybe my ear just wasn't picking it up. But anyways, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I get heavy blues for sure with Danzig.
I'll have to listen to it again and see what I think.
Maybe it's the first live verse recording type thing for you.
Yeah. But so I don't even know the imagery very much. I do know the Misfits skull and like that imagery, but you want to talk about the set, or do you remember the set?
Yeah, we talked a
little bit.
We didn't really talk much about the other sets.
Well, no, we talked about Behemoth, how like basically Danzig's setup was blocking.
We did.
Behemoth.
We didn't talk about like their mic setups are the same, where like the snakes coming up for their mic stands.
Oh yeah.
They also have the staircase going up to the drum kit, so you can have people walking up and down. We need to talk more about the sets.
I know.
Than we do.
I know.
But Danzig set, I do remember where it was. The drum kit was on top of the big skull.
Yep.
With the horns.
Yeah.
This is the cover of Danzig 1.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So
that
like
makes
the
sense.
skull is
and
cut
that was
in
like
half.
the background too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense. And again, like I don't know the music, I don't know the albums, that sort of thing. But that all makes sense. And then there was like skulls on the side too, and then like, gargoyles.
Like hammers are swords and stones with like skulls and shit all over that. Yeah. I don't remember the gargoyles.
You don't remember the gargoyles?
I don't know.
They were like kind of at the end of
everything.
everything.
I do know. Okay, yeah.
Which is kind of funny because even our friend asked, are there gargoyles in Chicago?
Yeah.
And then I wonder if that was like supposed to like tie it all together, but maybe not.
I do remember at this time also that they were using orange amps, the black version of orange amps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it made me smile because I'm like, all right, it fits in. Everything's black and gray, and you want the black amps, and you're using orange amps. And every time I see an orange amp that is not orange, I'm instantly like, you kind of failed there. It's in the name. It's orange. It should be an orange amp. It's a thing that makes me smile. Not just here. Every time I see a black orange amp, I'm like, well, you kind of fucked up. It should have been orange. But black fit better for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's not orange. If you wanted a black amp, get a Fender or a Marshall or some shit like that. If you want an orange amp, get a fucking orange amp. We've talked about this where different amps have different tones and different effects. Like, not necessarily effects, but like
that we don't know anything about.
Sound differently. I can't fucking pick that shit up at all in my ear. People can for sure, especially the musicians playing the music. They can fucking pick that shit up.
Yeah.
So if that's what you like, do it. Go for what makes you happy, and that makes them happy. But it's not orange. It just made me smile when I saw that.
Yeah.
But I do, after you mentioned that, I do kind of remember the gargoyles after, like below the horns that they come out. And that was a massive fucking piece.
Yeah.
I want to Marth does something very similar with like with the skull. And
with the Viking helmet.
Yeah, and I expected the eyes of the skull to like light up for LED screens, but no, I think it was a fabric, and that was like the amps or something under it, because I saw like the eyes wiggle as they were playing.
You noticed it a lot more than I did.
But getting back into the set list a little bit, they started with the album Danzig 1, the 35th anniversary. We're going to come out and play the album. We hinted on this a little bit. I don't like when people play albums in their entirety, or a tour is promoted as this is the album in its entirety.
Yeah.
I kind of don't like that. My biggest thing I don't like about, especially if I know the album, is I have now discovered your formula for your set, and I know what's going to happen next. I don't like knowing what's going to be next. If it's a like Metallica lead-in, like comes out with the same riff or the same sort of like intro track. Same with any band. Name a band. Some songs always have the same intro track to a particular song. I'm fine with that. that's the lead into that song. And then it gets me pumped for that song. But when it's an album in its entirety, I know exactly what's going to be next. I don't like that. Sometimes also it is, oh, you already played a lot. Now you're doing this, I'm going to say gimmicky thing of playing your album in its entirety. I know now the set's going to be over. When this is done, I have no more time with you. It's over. I can start counting down the minutes. I don't like doing that. I like to be surprised and be like, boom, it's over. You're done. Go home. Get the fuck out. Shoo. So we asked our friends about this as well, of, do you like that? And the response they gave, I think, was adequate. And the caveat kind of lined up with what we were saying. The caveat, though, was, unless it's an album you really, really love. And I don't know if there's many albums out there where I'm like, holy shit, I love this album. I want to hear it in its entirety. Outside of maybe Avatar Country.
Yeah.
With the exception of the King's Speech. Fuck the King's Speech. That's garbage. Everything else, gold. I don't know what your thoughts are on terms of playing an album in its entirety. If you're okay with it or if you're not okay with it.
So I've only heard it a couple times. But most of the time I don't know the entire. I'm not an album person. So I don't know all the album. However, we did see Whitechapel this year. And they played the Valley in full. And I happen to know most of the song lineup on that album because I've listened to it multiple times in full because I like that album. So at that show, once I realized that they were going to play them in order, it wasn't that surprise that you talked about, where we don't like to know what's next. We like to be surprised. That's why we don't look up set lists. And it was like, oh, this song's over. Next song's this. Next song's this. Next song's this. There's only like a couple songs on that like I got excited that it was like coming up or going to be played. And then I don't know how many songs I think they did the entire set like they normally do, but like he was really sick that night. So, and then we got like 3 encore songs or 4 encore songs.
And that's typically what we see, right? Is just like, I'm going to play the album in its entirety and then a few other songs, not from the album.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, kind of redundant and then to play the other songs over again.
Yeah.
Which is what we expected here. And as we were leaving, we were talking like, oh, we only missed like 2 songs. And our friends were like, no, he goes on for a lot longer. And he did go on. Danzig went on for a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then to your point of playing everything in order, one of the main things I hated, right, is I know what's next. I know what's going to happen. And as we're walking out, as we said earlier, they're like, no, Mother's 6, but they're playing it the last song of the album. And that was kind of cool to not play the album in order, but to mix it around. That helped a little bit, I think. I don't know if you think that helps just as much or not.
But I don't know the album, so it was fine for me. Like they could have played it in order and it would have been fine.
That's true too. Same. I don't know the album that well. Actually, I don't know the album at all, other than Mother is on the album. So yeah. But even then, with like playing the album out of order, if you can sprinkle other songs in, to me, that's what's kind of cool about it. And you can surprise like, hey, if you haven't noticed at the very end, if you haven't noticed, we played everything but Mother. Let's close out with Mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Type thing. So that's how I want to see an album in its entirety, is a couple songs from it, something different. A couple songs from it, something different. And those couple songs not in order.
So I do like, I mean, if I was a Danzig fan, I probably would have liked how this was put together, though, like where you do have the album in full, but then you basically have like another concert as well. Not another concert, but another set list as well. So it wasn't just the 10 songs on the album.
You do get another set list. Yes, I agree. You do get another set list. That's really cool. I agree. When I was putting the songs on the playlist, it was kind of funny.
Why?
The first 3 songs after Danzig 1 were from Danzig 2.
Oh,
the
really?
next 3 were from Danzig 3.
Oh.
And then the last song in the main set was Danzig 2. So it kind of goes back. But it was like Danzig 1, then we're going to do Danzig 2, and then Danzig 3. So we're like going in order.
Yeah.
And I think the last song Snakes of Christ was a Danzig 2 song also.
Oh, okay.
But that did make me smile, be like, oh, we're going 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Any case, I really enjoyed this a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. Couple other things I noticed during the set. Going into the performance, our friends were telling us they had seen Danzig before.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
Danzig doesn't allow photos, apparently. They saw Danzig in like an actual theater, which would be weird as shit, I think, to see.
Yeah.
Like this style of show in a theater. We've seen a few shows in theaters, and it always feels weird. Like you have an assigned seat. I don't know. I don't know if you get the same vibe when we go to those.
I don't care for it. No.
Yeah, it just feels odd and weird. Unless there's a balcony, then you can go up to the balcony, but that's different. Like you can go down the floor if you want, or I don't know. It's just different. It's weird. But yeah, Danzig doesn't let you take photos. So when they were in the theater and they were taking photo, and they'd walk around and like tap them on the shoulder, like, no photos. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't know. If I knew, I would not take photos. I'm sorry. And we were like, oh shit, I didn't know you couldn't do that at this show. We've heard recently, I think Ghost banned phones from one of their shows, and
from two of them, but I think that was because they're recording something.
Right, that's one of the things we saw online, that they're recording something. Even smartwatches, like, you can't do this. Jack White, apparently last year, we went to see him, and we were doing some research afterwards where he's banning phones also. I think Tool has banned phones at shows. Like, different artists have banned phones at shows for various reasons. We hate phones at concerts. Taking photos, taking videos. We've talked about this a lot in length in the past. We do it for this podcast for sure. And whenever I do it, I do kind of feel bad about doing it. I kind of hate doing it, but it's like that necessary evil type thing, right? So going into this show, I was like, shit, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to be able to take photos or not. But Danzig goes on and you see phones go up. Not necessarily up like I've seen in the past. And I've noticed that lately in just shows in general, people are getting better with their phones. They're not holding them up for the entire time.
You might think that, but you're taller than people.
That's fair.
They're right. There's many times that they're right in the view.
So you're smaller than me. So I see it as people holding it down in front of their faces. The problem is down here for me, this is your view up to it for sure.
Yep.
So it's not as bad for me as it was. Was it? All right. So looking back when people like shove them way up in the air, was that a bother to you at all?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Okay.
But they still do that.
They do, but not nearly as bad. I don't feel like. I feel like it's getting better.
Okay.
Personally, from anecdotal evidence of going to shows, I feel like it's getting better. So at this show, I saw a lot of people do that here too, of just like down low in front of their faces doing stuff. Like, oh, awesome. So you can take photos. Can't take video. People are more respectful. That's awesome. And there was nobody walking in the crowd like tapping people on the shoulder like, no, stop that. We're going to throw you out if you do this again. But security up on the rail was popping up shining lights in people's faces. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought that was so fucking distracting.
It was. I have lots of comments. Can I go ahead?
Comment away. Comment away.
So at first, when our friends told us about the prior show that they saw, I was like, well, maybe that was that theater's policy. Because like even when we went to see Wage War and A Day to Remember, like there was an announcement saying like, please do not record or take photos of the performance.
And there we've respected that.
Yeah,
we did not take any photos. There were other people out there doing it, but nobody's walking around saying like, you can't do this. Right. But we did respect the wishes of the artist to not do that.
Right. So there was an announcement, though.
Yes.
Before this, I was kind of expecting between Behemoth and Danzig that there would be an announcement saying, hey, please refrain from taking photos or video. But there wasn't. So I never took a video because I was like, I knew that this was happening. But you did take some photos and a video. Short video, like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, something. Yeah. But I think for myself, if I had my phone out and some security just started shining a light in my face, I would have been so fucking pissed. Because there's no announcement. There's nobody telling you that you can't do. It wasn't on the tickets. It wasn't posted anywhere that you can't take photos. So I would have been pissed. I've been like, what the fuck? Why are you shining a light in my face?
Yeah.
Again, like, you can't enforce something that's never been announced, or never been. It's like punishing a child for something that you don't want them to do, but you never gave them parameters of not to do it.
I never told you to like stick your finger in that socket.
That's not what I mean.
I know. That's I know what you mean.
Okay.
That was a bad example.
Yes, that was. But anyways.
But
no, I thought it was so distracting too, because all you see all night is like flashlights flashing. And
it wasn't just at that person. Like they have their phone up. It's now the people behind them and around them that are now getting distracted as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it had just been announced and there was nothing on the tickets, there was like no way, like the only way we knew that this was a possible issue was our friends telling us before we went to the show that this could have been an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, great. I think it's fine if they say no phones, no video, no nothing, but you have to give that expectation.
Yes.
Like, and like you said, at the show that we went to where they announced that, we respected it. Yes, we take photos and video for the podcast, for Instagram, that sort of thing. But that show, it was just photos of the theater we were in.
It was. I do remember that.
Because it's like, we respected not taking photos of the band, as they said. So if Danzig would have said the same thing, or if there would have been an announcement somewhere in the auditorium or in the ballroom or wherever we were, we would have respected it.
So in between sets leading up to Danzig, I was taking photos of the facade and people wearing Danzig shirts to post in the place of
to know that we weren't,
because like if they announce we can't do this, I'm gonna need content to throw up there. And since they're the headliner, they get like the most photos up front on Instagram, so it's gonna be like 7 photos of the building, which cool, whatever, that's what we were told to do. We're gonna honor it. But yeah, no announcement at all. The security shining lights in the phones, like, nope, you can't do that, was very annoying to see. Not just from like the person taking the photo, it never happened to us, but we were behind people who it had happened to, and the light shined on our eyes and distracted us from the performance in the show. So if you as an artist, like, it distracts from the show, agreed, it does, but so does a fucking light in your eyes from a security person distracts from the show. Just fucking distracting right away. Also, that's a security guard. Their job, like, what if somebody's moshing? Like, I've noticed with other venues we go to, when people are crowd surfing, you would have one person pop up with the light shine on there, like direct the other people, like, you need a funnel over here because here comes a person you need to catch. Funnel over here. Like, when you start, like, don't take photos, you're now taking away this. And again, I get
what you're saying. Yeah.
And I don't know if they like hired one person individually to like shine lights in
people's faces,
or like if you're not taking away from that security guard aspect of crowd surfing, you're adding +1 on top of everything for phone monitoring. I have my opinions. I hate phones at concerts, but at the same time, the way to address it isn't to say you can't do it. It's to educate people and be like, it's not appropriate to record the entire fucking thing. 30 seconds, boom, phone up, phone down. Take a few quick photos, up, down. Like, I really hate these artists who are like, you can't have phones at my show. Like, grow the fuck up, I guess. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I just think, I mean, I already said it, but if I was one of the people that they shined a light in my face, I would have been pissed, because I've been like, I didn't know. Like, you can't, like I just said, you can't enforce something that the expectation's not set.
Exactly. 100% agreed.
That's my thought.
But that was like the only negative thing I can think about
for the whole night. Yeah.
Is we kind of knew going in that there might be some pushback on video and phones and whatnot.
But we wouldn't have known if our friends hadn't.
We wouldn't have known that. And you know what would have helped? A fucking announcement to say, don't do this.
Or a sign or anything. Like any notification.
I mean, yeah, now we get in that muddy water of, there was a sign. It was this little tiny plaque on the corner that you should have read as you're walking through
No.
security. Like, it was posted.
I don't think it was.
I don't think so. It's probably in the small print and like the.
But that's probably
I
on
agree.
everything.
It probably is. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, we don't know. So, there was nothing that we saw or no announcement made. So
yeah. All in all, though, a very, very good show.
Yeah,
I really
it was
enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
I already told both of our friends that I'm like, I can't wait for our next show together.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
It was really fun.
It was fun.
So.
We'll get into this at the year-end review, but I think one of my big highlights is going to be
This
going
show?
to shows with friends.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant this show.
Overall, yeah.
I was like, oh wow.
In a way, this show, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I have views on going to show with other people, and it's been an up and down view over time. So we'll talk about that when we get to the end of the year. But yeah, it was a really good show. I really had a lot of fun. All these bands I want to see again, even Twin Temple in the right setting.
In the right setting, yeah. Yeah.
Live music's awesome. Go check out live music.
Bye.